Health Inspector Elena Vasquez had spent 14 hours reviewing restaurant violations when she finally left the county office building. San Diego's gas lamp quarter glowed under streetlights as she walked toward her Honda, arms loaded with case files she'd take home to review. The parking structure echoed with her footsteps. She was halfway to her car when headlights suddenly flooded her vision. A black SUV with city fleet plates screeched to a stop, blocking her path. The driver's door swung open, and a man in a fire department uniform stepped out, broad-shouldered, buzz-cut, his jaw set hard. "You need to stop right there," he barked. Elena froze, confusion washing over her. "Excuse me? Your vehicle is obstructing emergency access." He gestured toward her Honda, which sat properly within its painted lines. "Move it. Now." She glanced around the nearly empty garage. "Sir, my car is legally parked." "I don't understand what. I don't have time for excuses." He stepped closer, and she could see his name tag. "Show me identification. Now." Elena's confusion turned to unease. "May I ask why you need my ID?" "I'm simply walking to my vehicle." Hammond's face darkened. "When a city official gives you an order, you comply. That's how this works." Something felt profoundly wrong. Elena had dealt with hostile witnesses in restaurant inspections before, but this was different. This was intimidation without cause. She slowly reached for her bag. "I'm getting my wallet." "Hurry up," he snapped. As she opened her purse, Hammond suddenly grabbed her wrist. "What's taking so long? You hiding something?" "Please let go of me," Elena said firmly, pain shooting up her arm. "Don't tell me what to do." His grip tightened. Several people had emerged from the elevator, stopping to watch. A young couple stood frozen near their car. An elderly man pulled out his phone. "Sir, there are witnesses here," Elena said quietly. "Please conduct yourself appropriately." Something in her calm tone enraged him. In one swift motion, Hammond yanked her toward a concrete pillar and shoved her against it. Before she could react, his hand closed around her throat, not crushing, but unmistakably threatening. "You people always think you're smarter than everyone else," he hissed. Inches from her face, Elena couldn't speak. The pressure on her windpipe made words impossible. Her hands instinctively went to his wrist, trying to pull it away. Around them, phones lifted. The distinctive sound of video recording filled the garage. "I said show me your ID," Hammond repeated, his face contorted with rage. With trembling fingers, Elena managed to extract her wallet. She held it up, and Hammond's eyes locked onto the identification card. His expression shifted from fury to shock in an instant. The gold seal was unmistakable, City Health Department Chief Inspector. And beside her photo, her full title, Elena Vasquez, Department Head. Hammond's hand fell away from her throat as if burned. He stumbled back, his face draining of color. "Inspector Vasquez," he stammered. I didn't recognize you. You weren't in uniform, and the lighting here is the same." "Inspector Vasquez," Elena said, her voice returning though raw, "who is scheduled to lead the departmental review of Fire Station 19 next month." She rubbed her throat. "The station where you serve as captain. Correct?" The phones kept recording. The witnesses stood transfixed. Hammond's confidence evaporated. "This is a misunderstanding. I was responding to a complaint about blocked access. Just doing my job." "By assaulting a city employee?" Elena carefully gathered the files that had scattered across the concrete. "By placing your hands on someone who posed no threat?" "I thought you were reaching for." He stopped himself, realizing how hollow it sounded. Elena straightened, meeting his gaze. Despite being several inches shorter, she somehow seemed to tower over him. "You'll be hearing from me again, Captain Hammond. Much sooner than you expected." She walked to her car with as much dignity as she could muster, though her hands shook as she unlocked the door. In her rearview mirror, she watched Hammond standing frozen, surrounded by witnesses with their phones still raised, recording his humiliation. Elena drove home on autopilot, her throat throbbing. Once inside her apartment, she stood before the bathroom mirror and gently removed her scarf. Dark bruises were already forming where Hammond's fingers had pressed into her skin. She photographed them, documenting everything with clinical detachment. Years of evidence collection in health violations had trained her well. Her phone buzzed constantly. By the time she checked it, the videos had already spread across social media. She watched herself pinned against the pillar, Hammond's hand at her throat. The moment he recognized who she was, the comments section was a battlefield. Some expressed outrage. Others defended Hammond, claiming she must have provoked him somehow. At midnight, the fire department released a statement. Earlier today, Captain Hammond responded to a citizen complaint regarding blocked emergency access in a downtown parking facility. A brief interaction occurred involving proper restraint procedures. The individual was released immediately upon identification. The department is reviewing standard protocols. No mention of assault. No mention of her position. Just sanitized bureaucratic language that made violence sound like procedure. Elena barely slept. By morning, her colleague Marcus Chin was waiting outside her office, tablet in hand. Have you seen what they're saying? Marcus, her deputy inspector for 6 years, looked angry and worried in equal measure. They're spinning this as if you somehow interfered with emergency operations. Elena sank into her chair. Of course they are. There's more. Marcus pulled up an internal memo. Station 19 is claiming the upcoming inspection should be postponed due to conflicts of interest. They're saying you can't fairly evaluate them after this incident. They want me to step aside. The deputy fire chief sent this to your supervisor an hour ago. Marcus showed her the email. Given Inspector Vasquez's recent negative interaction with Captain Hammond, we respectfully request she recuse herself from any oversight of Station 19 to ensure impartiality. Elena read it twice, fury building beneath her calm exterior. They assault me, then use that assault as grounds to avoid accountability? They're good at protecting their own, Marcus said quietly. Elena, the commissioner is suggesting you might want to consider it. To avoid the appearance of bias. The appearance of bias. Elena touched her bruised throat. What about the reality of assault? Over the next 3 days, the pressure intensified. Her supervisor, Robert Caldwell, called her into his office, a man she'd respected for years, who now looked at her with something like pity. Elena, you know I support you, he began. Do you? He winced. The fire department union has filed a formal complaint. They're claiming you have a personal vendetta against Captain Hammond. If you proceed with the Station 19 inspection, they'll challenge every finding. It'll tie up everything in appeals for years. So I should just let him go unpunished? I'm saying pick your battles. Press personal charges if you want, but recuse yourself from the professional review. Elena leaned forward. Robert, Station 19 has had 17 safety violations in the past 3 years. Expired medical supplies, inadequate sanitation protocols, falsified inspection logs. This isn't about Hammond, it's about public safety. Then let Marcus lead the inspection. And send the message that assaulting female inspectors is an effective way to avoid scrutiny? Caldwell had no answer for that evening. Elena returned to the parking garage where it happened. She stood at the exact spot where Hammond had grabbed her throat. Security cameras covered this area, she'd checked. She requested the footage through official channels. 3 days later, she received a response. Security footage from that date is unavailable due to a technical malfunction. Of course it was. The Station 19 inspection was scheduled for Monday. Elena spent the weekend preparing, despite Caldwell's suggestion that she recuse herself. She reviewed every violation report, every safety complaint, every piece of documentation from the past 5 years. A pattern emerged that turned her stomach. Station 19 wasn't just cutting corners, they were systematically covering up problems. Falsified safety checks. Missing medical supplies marked as in stock. Sanitation failures blamed on equipment rather than negligence, and Hammond's name appeared on nearly every falsified report. Sunday night, her doorbell rang. She checked the peephole and saw a man in a fire department uniform, younger, Latino, his face tight with anxiety. She opened the door a crack, keeping the chain locked. Can I help you? Inspector Vasquez? I'm Miguel Torres, firefighter at Station 19. He glanced over his shoulder nervously. I need to talk to you. It's important. If this is about the inspection, it's about what happened to you. And what's been happening at our station for years. He pulled a USB drive from his pocket. But I can't come to your office. They're watching who contacts you. Elena studied him. He looked genuinely afraid. She removed the chain and let him in. Miguel stood in her living room, barely able to stand still. I became a firefighter because my father was one. Because I wanted to save lives. But what's happening at Station 19? It's not about saving lives anymore. Tell me. The story poured out. Hammond had been at Station 19 for 8 years, rising to captain 3 years ago. Under his command, the station had become increasingly sloppy, safety protocols ignored, supplies mismanaged, violations buried under falsified paperwork. When inspectors come, we all know to parrot the same story, Miguel said. Hammond coaches us beforehand. This is what you say. This is how you say it. We protect our own. And if someone objects? Miguel's jaw tightened. Last year, a firefighter named Jennifer Park filed an internal complaint about missing epinephrine injectors. Said we were endangering the public by marking them as stocked when they weren't. 2 weeks later, she was transferred to a station 40 miles away. Harassment, they called it. She quit rather than make the commute. He held out the USB drive. I've been documenting everything. Photos of expired medical supplies. Copies of falsified inspection logs. Emails where Hammond tells us what to say to inspectors. It's all here. Elena took the drive carefully. Why now? Why risk this? Because what he did to you, Miguel's voice cracked slightly. That's who he really is. And I can't pretend anymore that I'm one of the good guys if I keep protecting him. After Miguel left, Elena plugged in the drive. File after file opened before her, photographs of safety violations, emails coordinating false testimony, maintenance logs doctored to hide equipment failures. One folder contained personnel records showing Hammond's history, 11 formal complaints over 8 years, including 3 for aggressive behavior toward civilians. All dismissed or downgraded by the fire chief's office. The pattern was unmistakable. The department wasn't just protecting Hammond, they'd built a system specifically designed to shield him from consequences. Monday morning arrived cold and overcast. Elena dressed in her most formal inspector's uniform, making sure her badge and credentials were prominently displayed. The bruises on her throat had faded to yellow-green, but she didn't hide them. Marcus met her outside Station 19 with their inspection team, 2 junior inspectors, a sanitation specialist, and a documentation officer. Last chance to reconsider, Marcus said quietly. I'm not reconsidering. The station's bay doors stood open. Fire trucks gleamed in the morning light, polished to perfection. It looked like a recruitment poster, everything spotless and professional. Hammond emerged from the main office, flanked by 2 senior firefighters. He'd clearly been expecting her. His expression was carefully neutral, but his eyes held barely concealed contempt. Inspector Vasquez, he said with exaggerated courtesy. Welcome to Station 19. We're ready for your review. Captain Hammond. Elena's voice was crisp, professional. Let's begin with your medical supply storage. What followed was a masterclass in coordinated deception. Every firefighter Elena interviewed gave remarkably similar answers, word for word similar, as if rehearsed. Every storage area she wanted to inspect had been meticulously organized overnight. Every logbook showed perfect compliance, but Elena had Miguel's files. She knew exactly where to look. Captain Hammond, according to your logs, you have 48 epinephrine auto-injectors currently in stock. Please show them to me. Hammond's confident smile faltered for just a second. Of course. Lieutenant Brennan, show the inspector our emergency medical supplies. They led her to a locked cabinet. Lieutenant Brennan opened it with a flourish, revealing neatly organized rows of medical supplies. Elena counted the epinephrine injectors. 48, exactly as logged. She checked the expiration dates. All current. Marcus shot her a questioning look. Elena kept her expression neutral. And your backup supply, she asked. Backup supply? Hammond frowned. We maintain the required quantity. There's no requirement for backup. Fire stations of your size and call volume are recommended to maintain backup supplies. Elena pulled out Miguel's photos on her tablet. Especially after the incident last March where you ran out of epinephrine during a mass allergic reaction at the Harbor Festival. Hammond's face hardened. We restocked immediately after that incident. By purchasing 48 new injectors the day before this inspection? Elena showed him procurement records from the USB drive. According to city purchasing records, your station ordered an emergency supply of 48 units on Friday afternoon. Express delivery on Saturday. The color drained from Hammond's face. Elena continued, her voice calm but relentless. The same records show you've been ordering medical supplies in large batches immediately before inspections, then allowing them to expire between reviews. The costs to taxpayers are substantial. More importantly, during the months between inspections, your medical supplies are insufficient or expired. That's not. Hammond started. I have photographs dated 3 weeks ago showing empty spaces in this exact cabinet. Elena swiped through Miguel's images. Spaces where life-saving medications should have been. One of the firefighters standing behind Hammond, a young woman with her hair in a tight bun, suddenly spoke up. Inspector, may I say something? Hammond shot her a warning glare, but Elena nodded. Go ahead. I'm firefighter Chen. Last month, we responded to a cardiac emergency. We needed nitroglycerin for a patient with chest pain. She took a deep breath. We didn't have any. It was marked as in stock, but the cabinet was empty. The patient died before the backup unit arrived with medication. The bay fell silent. That's enough, Chen, Hammond barked. No, it's not. Chen's voice shook but held firm. I became a firefighter to help people. Not to lie about supplies we don't have. Elena looked directly at Hammond. Captain, I'm placing this station under immediate safety review. All medical supplies will be independently inventoried. All safety logs for the past 2 years will be audited. And I'll be interviewing every member of your staff individually. Hammond stepped closer, his voice dropping to a threatening whisper. You're making a very serious mistake, Inspector. Elena held her ground. The only mistake was made by whoever decided protecting your reputation was more important than public safety. The next 3 weeks were brutal. The fire department's union hired a high-powered law firm to challenge Elena's inspection authority. They filed motions claiming bias, conflict of interest, and procedural violations. The media coverage intensified, with competing narratives battling for dominance. Hammond appeared on a local news program, looking somber and professional. Inspector Vasquez has had it out for me since our unfortunate misunderstanding in the parking garage. I apologized immediately, but she's turned a minor incident into a personal crusade against first responders. Elena received death threats. Someone spray-painted traitor on her apartment building. Her car's tires were slashed twice in 1 week. Worse, her own department began distancing itself. Caldwell stopped returning her calls. Colleagues who'd been friendly for years suddenly had urgent meetings elsewhere when she entered the break room. Then the anonymous calls started. Drop the investigation, a distorted voice said at 2 a.m. Or your niece won't be safe walking to school. Elena's blood ran cold. Her niece Sophia, 8 years old, walked 3 blocks to elementary school every morning. She called her brother immediately. Carlos, I need you to drive Sophia to school until further notice. Don't let her walk alone. Elena, what's going on? She couldn't tell him everything. Just trust me. Please. The calls continued. Different voices, same message, back off or face consequences. One afternoon, Elena returned from a field inspection to find her office ransacked. Files scattered across the floor, her computer smashed, photographs torn from the wall. Nothing taken, just destroyed. Security footage showed 3 men in maintenance uniforms entering her office during lunch. Their faces were obscured by caps and masks. No identification tags visible. The building security chief shrugged apologetically. Must have been contract workers. We'll look into it. No investigation ever materialized. The breaking point came on a Thursday evening. Elena was leaving the office late when she found Hammond waiting by her car. Not in uniform this time, jeans, a hoodie, hands in pockets. But the threat in his stance was unmistakable. You should have recused yourself, he said calmly. This didn't have to get ugly. Elena's hand went to her phone in her pocket. If you're threatening me, I'm not threatening anyone. Hammond's smile was cold. I'm just observing that bad things happen to people who don't know when to quit. Equipment fails. Accidents occur. Even inspectors can have unfortunate incidents in parking structures. Is that what happened to Jennifer Park? An unfortunate incident? Hammond's smile widened. Jennifer understood eventually. She took a nice quiet job in Santa Rosa and stopped making trouble. Smart woman. I'm not Jennifer Park. No, you're not. You're more stubborn. More self-righteous. He stepped closer. But everyone has a breaking point, Inspector. Maybe yours is your niece. Or your brother. Or your aging mother in that nursing home in Oceanside. Ice flooded Elena's veins. You leave my family alone. Then leave my station alone. Hammond's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Last chance, Inspector. Walk away, or people you love will pay the price. He walked off into the darkness, leaving Elena shaking beside her car. Despite everything, the threats, the isolation, the ransacked office, Elena didn't back down. Instead, she did something Hammond didn't expect. She escalated, using the evidence Miguel had provided and additional documentation from firefighter Chen and 3 other whistleblowers who came forward. Elena filed formal charges with the city's Ethics Commission. Not just against Hammond, but against the fire chief and 2 deputy chiefs who'd systematically covered up violations. The hearing was scheduled for a Monday morning in the city council chambers. Elena arrived early, dressed in her full inspector's uniform, carrying 3 briefcases of evidence. The chambers filled quickly. Fire department officials in dress uniforms lined one side. Community safety advocates filled the other. Media packed the back rows, cameras ready. Hammond sat at the respondent's table with his attorney, an expensive defense lawyer named Patricia Morales who specialized in protecting public employees from misconduct charges. The Ethics Commission consisted of 5 members, 2 retired judges, a former prosecutor, a community organizer, and a law professor. They sat at an elevated bench, faces impassive. Commissioner Anderson, the former prosecutor, called the hearing to order. We're here to address serious allegations against Captain Derek Hammond and others within the fire department. Inspector Vasquez, you may present your evidence. Elena approached the podium. For a moment, her mind flashed back to the parking garage, Hammond's hand on her throat, the helplessness, the fear. Then she looked at Miguel Torres sitting in the gallery, and firefighter Chin beside him, and 3 other firefighters who'd risked their careers to tell the truth, she began methodically. First, the pattern of falsified safety inspections. She displayed Miguel's photographs alongside official logs, showing the stark discrepancies. Empty medical supply cabinets marked as fully stocked. Expired equipment listed as current. Broken safety gear documented as functional. For the past 3 years, Elena said, her voice steady, Station 19 has systematically deceived safety inspectors, placing both firefighters and civilians at risk. Hammond's attorney objected repeatedly. These photographs could have been taken at any time. There's no proof they depict Station 19. Elena calmly displayed the metadata, showing dates, times, and GPS coordinates. Each photo was time-stamped and geotagged. Irrefutable, next came the emails. Miguel had provided internal communications showing Hammond instructing his team to lie to inspectors. One email was particularly damning. Standard procedure for Vasquez's inspection: everyone sticks to the script. Nobody deviates. We protect our own, no exceptions. The commission members exchanged glances, then Elena presented the procurement records showing the pattern: large orders of medical supplies immediately before inspections, followed by months of depletion. The department has spent over $200,000 in the past 3 years purchasing emergency supplies that shouldn't have needed replacing. This isn't fiscal mismanagement, it's fraud. Hammond's attorney stood. Captain Hammond was following established departmental procedures. He reported supply needs to his superiors, who approved all purchases. He's being scapegoated for systemic issues. Then let's discuss those systemic issues, Elena said. She pulled out the personnel files showing how complaints against Hammond had been systematically buried. Jennifer Park's harassment claim, dismissed. A civilian complaint about aggressive behavior, downgraded to counseling. 3 firefighters transferred after raising safety concerns. This isn't one bad actor, Elena said. This is an institutional culture that prioritizes loyalty over accountability. The hearing lasted 6 hours. Hammond took the stand, projecting confidence and righteous indignation. I've served this city for 15 years, he said, his voice resonating with conviction. I've run into burning buildings when others ran out. I've saved lives. And now I'm being persecuted by an inspector with a personal grudge. Is this a personal grudge? Elena asked when given a chance for cross-examination. She approached Hammond's table. Or is this about the fact that you assaulted me in a parking garage to intimidate me, then used your position to cover it up? That was a misunderstanding. You placed your hand around my throat. Elena's voice remained calm but carried steel. Was that misunderstanding or assault? Hammond's attorney objected. That incident is not relevant to these proceedings. Commissioner Anderson leaned forward. I disagree. The assault demonstrates Captain Hammond's approach to people who challenge his authority. The objection is overruled. Captain Hammond, please answer the question. Hammond shifted uncomfortably. I reacted to what I perceived as a threat. What threat? A woman carrying grocery files to her car? You were uncooperative. I asked why you needed my identification. That's uncooperative? The exchange continued, Hammond's composure cracking with each question. The man who'd been so confident, so intimidating in that parking garage, now stumbled over his words as the commission watched. Finally, Elena played her trump card. She'd subpoenaed the parking garage security footage that the building claimed was unavailable. But Miguel had discovered something. The security company kept backup servers for insurance purposes. With a court order, Elena had obtained the footage the fire department thought was gone. The video played on the large screen. Crystal clear. Hammond shoving Elena against the pillar. His hand at her throat. Her obvious fear. The witnesses filming. Hammond's face when he recognized her, not apologetic, but angry at being caught. The chambers fell silent. Commissioner Anderson spoke first. Captain Hammond, in your statement, you said you immediately apologized and that the incident was a brief misunderstanding. This video shows sustained physical aggression lasting over 2 minutes. Would you like to revise your testimony? Hammond had no answer. The Ethics Commission deliberated for 3 days. Elena tried to work during the wait, but concentration eluded her. She jumped at every phone call, started at every knock on her door. Miguel called daily to check on her. Firefighter Chin sent encouraging texts. Even Marcus, who'd been cautiously supportive, now became openly allied with her cause. Whatever happens, you did the right thing, he said. On Thursday afternoon, the commission reconvened. Elena sat in the front row, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Hammond sat across the aisle, his attorney beside him, his face a mask of forced confidence. Commissioner Anderson cleared her throat. This commission has reviewed all evidence presented regarding Captain Derek Hammond's conduct and the broader systemic issues within Fire Station 19 and the fire department's administrative structure. Elena's heart hammered. We find that Captain Hammond engaged in systematic deception regarding safety inspections, falsified official documents, and created a culture of intimidation that prevented subordinates from reporting violations. Hammond's jaw tightened. Furthermore, the assault on Inspector Vasquez demonstrates a pattern of using physical intimidation to avoid accountability. The captain's subsequent attempts to discredit Inspector Vasquez and force her recusal represent an abuse of authority. Commissioner Anderson's gaze moved to the fire chief, who sat stone-faced in the gallery. We also find that senior leadership within the fire department failed in their oversight responsibilities. Multiple complaints were dismissed without proper investigation. Whistleblowers were transferred or harassed. This represents a failure of institutional integrity. She paused, letting the weight of the words settle. Therefore, this commission recommends the following actions. Captain Derek Hammond is hereby terminated from the San Diego Fire Department, effective immediately. His pension and benefits are under review pending criminal investigation. Hammond shot to his feet. This is a witch hunt. You're destroying my career based on the lies of the bailiff. Stepped forward. Sir, please sit down. Fire Chief Thompson and Deputy Chiefs Morrison and Chen are placed on administrative leave pending a full departmental review, Anderson continued. This commission is recommending the City Council initiate a comprehensive investigation into fire department oversight procedures. She looked directly at Elena. Inspector Vasquez, this commission commends your integrity and professionalism throughout this process. We recognize the personal cost of your commitment to public safety. Thank you for your service. Elena sat frozen, barely processing the words. It was over. Justice had actually prevailed. Hammond was escorted from the chambers, still protesting. As he passed Elena's row, he locked eyes with her one final time. The smugness was gone, replaced by impotent rage, and in the hallway afterward, Miguel approached with firefighter Chen and the other whistleblowers. You did it, Miguel said, his voice thick with emotion. You actually did it. We did it, Elena corrected. None of this would have been possible without people willing to tell the truth. Chen wiped tears from her eyes. I was so scared. But watching you stand up to him, it made me believe we could actually win. Elena's phone buzzed. A text from her supervisor Caldwell, my office. Tomorrow morning. We need to talk about your future. The message could mean anything: a reprimand for causing institutional chaos, or perhaps something else. Elena would face whatever came next. 6 months later, Elena stood in the newly renovated Station 19. The fire chief position had been filled by an external candidate with a background in accountability and reform. Deputy Chief Maria Santos came from Portland's fire department, known for its progressive safety protocols. Inspector Vasquez, Santos said, shaking her hand firmly. Thank you for coming. Chief Santos. The station looks different. It did. The equipment gleamed, but not from last-minute polish, from consistent maintenance. The medical supply cabinets were glass-fronted now, their contents visible at a glance. Inventory logs were digital, backed up to the cloud, audited monthly by independent reviewers. We've implemented every recommendation from your report, Santos said. Plus a few more. Anonymous reporting system for safety concerns. Mandatory rotation of inspection response teams so no one station can develop coordinated deception. And external audits every 6 months. Miguel Torres appeared from the apparatus bay, now wearing lieutenant bars. Inspector Vasquez. Good to see you. Lieutenant Torres. Congratulations on the promotion. He smiled. Turns out speaking truth to power is good for your career. Who knew? They walked through the station together. Firefighters greeted Elena respectfully, not with the forced courtesy she'd encountered before, but with genuine warmth. These were people who could be proud of their work again. In the meeting room, a photo hung on the wall. It showed the new Station 19 crew at a community safety fair, teaching children about fire prevention. Jennifer Park stood in the back row. She'd returned to the department after Hammond's termination, assigned to a station that actually valued her integrity. We wanted you to see what you made possible, Santos said. Real change. Real accountability. Elena felt emotion tighten her throat. I'm just glad it mattered. It mattered. Chen appeared in the doorway. Every day when I put on this uniform now, I know I'm actually helping people. Not just pretending while covering up problems. Later, driving home, Elena passed the parking garage where it all began. She could have taken a different route she usually did. But today she pulled in, parking in the exact spot where her car had been that night. She sat there for a moment, remembering Hammond's hand on her throat, the fear, the humiliation. Then she thought about the hearing, the verdict, the changes that followed. The system hadn't been designed to protect her. It had been designed to protect people like Hammond. But she'd fought anyway, and enough other people had been brave enough to fight with her. Miguel, Chen, Jennifer Park, even Commissioner Anderson refusing to let the powerful hide behind procedure. Elena touched her throat where the bruises had long since faded. The physical marks were gone, but the memory remained not as trauma now, but as a reminder. When institutions fail, individuals have to stand up. And sometimes, despite everything, they can win. Her phone rang. Her niece Sophia's name appeared on the screen. Hi, sweetie. Aunt Elena. Guess what? I got an A on my safety presentation. I talked about how inspectors keep people safe, just like you. Elena smiled. That's wonderful, Sophia. My teacher said inspectors are heroes. Are you a hero, Aunt Elena? Elena thought about that question. About Miguel risking his career. About Chen speaking up despite her fear. About all the ordinary people who did extraordinary things when justice demanded it. No, sweetie, she said. But I work with a lot of them.